Today we will try to cover these measures of central tendency, measures of variation, and if time permits, we can see these moments, skewness, and kurtosis also. Okay, but these are very basic things as far as the statistics is concerned. Measures of central tendency means what is the uh, behavior of the data in the middle part. Okay, so that and important these measures are, we know that mean, median, mode usually start with these things. Okay, so central tendency is a statistical measure that determines a single value. Okay, so that gives a single value. So mean is a single value, median is a single value. Okay, like that. So this is creating problem. Let me. Okay. So what we want? We want single value. Okay. So single value like mean, median, mode, etc. We will see. And then we'll see measures of dispersons like a range, mean deviation, standard deviation, variance, other things. Okay. So, but before, as I said earlier, let us start with this mean, median, and the mode. So, very simple things. I think it started with some 9th or 10th standard. Okay. So again, let us repeat it. So we have mathematical means we have these 4 types of mean: arithmetic mean, simple one, geometric mean, harmonic mean, and most importantly, this weighted mean. Okay, we'll see it. Arithmetic mean, different types of different formulas to calculate it. Okay, but I think these formulas are developed much earlier when we did not have these computing facilities. Okay, nowadays, because of all these computing facilities, we can use this direct method only to calculate the arithmetic mean. Okay, it simply says if you have n values x1, x2, xn, then just add them and divide them by the total number. Okay, number of these values. But then they have developed shortcut method, step deviation method. So as I said earlier, these methods are, when these methods are used, if you are not comfortable with addition of these numbers or multiplication of these numbers, if these numbers are very large numbers, then maybe multiplication may not be comfortable for us, and therefore to reduce them, what we do, we subtract these numbers x1, x2 from some fixed number a. Okay, so this then we get d is equal to xi minus a. So we choose, this is our choice, we choose a number a, and then we get another number di, that is xi is equal to a, and with the help of this di we can find the arithmetic means. So this is a, that is the assumed, which we call a is called the assumed mean, but it is any number. Okay, whatever the number you choose, you can choose. Then this is a summation FD and N is the total frequency. Similarly, if this D is not smaller, still we can get smaller by dividing this DI by some number. Okay, so this is called step deviation method. So here U is, you can see that this is U. So this U is equal to X minus A, and again you divide by some number. So this is, still we get a smaller number. So if you get a small number, then it is, I think, easy to multiply and divide, and therefore we can find. So these are all old methods. Okay, as I said earlier, direct method serves the purpose nowadays. Now, example, if you have some frequency distribution like this, class intervals are there and their frequencies are there, then to use these formulas, what we do, we choose the middle point of these class intervals as A, Xi actually. So for example, here you can take 25 as X1, then you can take 35, 45, 55, and 65. Okay, so these numbers we can take Xi and then their frequency is there, so we can find the mean easily. Okay, so these X mid values, we take X frequency, Fx, D, U, FD, Fu, whatever method you want, you can apply with the help of this table, because all the things are there. D is there, U is there, okay, and Fx is there. If you simply add and this divide by total frequency, you'll get the number. Okay, if you FD, if you divide this by frequency and add A, you'll get that number mean. Okay, so you can use all the methods. Direct is there, you just this is sigma Fx, so you divide it by 100. This is sigma FD 100, and then we have taken, I think, A is equal to 45. Yes, here A is equal to 45. So this is 45 plus 1, 46. And similarly, if you want to use step deviation, you can consider also. So these things here you can see. This is important property. This is used. Algebraic sum of deviation of all the variates from their arithmetic mean is 0. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that suppose you have variates or values x1, x2, xn, and then if say A is the mean of these numbers, that is equal to summation xi upon n. So it says if you take deviation, algebraic sum of the deviation, so that is deviation is x1 minus a, then x2 minus a, like this, the deviation of nth, this. So these are deviation. So it's a algebraic sum. So you take the deviation of all these sums. From their arithmetic mean is 0. So you can verify this. So similarly, next is the geometric mean. So you take the product of all the numbers and take nth root. Okay, 1 by n, power is 1 by n. So this is geometric mean. And if the frequency distribution is there, frequency means if like this, x1, f1, x2 has frequency f2, like this, xn, fn, then we can, so multiplication, this, you multiply this x1, x2, xn. So what will be this then? And total frequency here will be capital N, that will be equal to summation fi. All right. So this now, this is creating problem. X1. Now X1 in this formula occurs only once. Frequency is 1. But if its frequency is F1, then you have to multiply X1, X1, X1 how many times? F times. Sorry, F1 times. And therefore it will become X1 to the power F1. So similarly, you will have X2 to the power F2 and then Xn to the power Fn like this. And then you can power will be 1 by capital N, right? So this is there, N is equal to F1, F2, Fn. So how to calculate this mean? You can take log and other things. Okay. So again, here you can take the mid value as xi. Frequency is there. So log x, f log x, because we are using this log gm, so geometric mean, we can find in and then we can take anti-log. Okay, so no problem. So all these things you can see, I can this upload this also, this PPTs. So you can see harmonic means. So in case of harmonic mean, what we do? Suppose x1, x2, xn are values, then we take their reciprocal first. 1 upon x1, 1 upon x2, and 1 upon xn. Okay. So harmonic mean of a series of values is the reciprocal of arithmetic means of their reciprocal. So these are reciprocal. Take their arithmetic mean and take their reciprocal. That is harmonic mean. Okay. So these are reciprocals of the values. We have taken its mean, and if you take its reciprocal, then you'll get HM, harmonic mean. Okay. So these things you can see. This is one of the property that geometric mean is a product of arithmetic and harmonic mean. G square is equal to AH, or sometimes we write G is equal to root AH. Now this is important, weighted mean. So if the weight of W or weight of X is W, okay, so we have values like this, X1, X2, Xn, their weights are W1, W2, Wn. Then the mean in this case is given by X1 W1 plus Xn Wn divided by W1 plus W2 plus Wn. like this. So this weighted mean example is given here, but I would like to ask if anybody wants to give a better example of weighted mean here. Practical example that they have used. Anybody? Weighted mean. Any idea of this? So, Shubham.
Yes, sir, no idea.
तुम कौन से उसमें हो, ब्रांच में हो?
सर इसी फोर्थ सेम।
इसी फोर्थ में हो। अच्छा, मैकेनिकल कोई है? मैकेनिकल फोर्थ से? So is okay. So let me give you. This you know that SGPA, CGPA, again. So you have listened these. These are your scores, semester scores, semester grade point average. This you have a cumulative grade point average, right? So if you see the back side of your grade card, the formulas are there. And what is this? What is that actually? This is summation. What I should write here? I don't remember the exact notation given in the grade card, but it is like this. Say VI CI upon CI. So CI means this is credit of subject I or paper I. Okay. And similarly, V is actually the grade value. The grade you have obtained. This VI is grade value. For example, if someone has obtained A grade in a paper, so what is the value of A grade? It is 9. Okay. And suppose the credit of the course is 4. Okay. So you know that you have seen all these things. So you have some 5 theory papers here and 4 practical papers here, P1 to P4. Okay. Theory paper T1 to T5. All these have credits. You know that mostly theory papers are having credit 4. Practicals, I think 2 to 2 like that. And then what you get VI after the result is declared. Okay, VI. So you get some grades. And these grades have values. This table is also given at back side of. Okay. So with the help of this, so this is nothing but weighted mean, SGPA. Similarly, CGPA. CGPA gives a cumulative grade point average. Okay, that is start from second semester. So second semester score means this is in, you can see that it is mean of first and second, but it is not simple mean, it is cumulative weighted mean. Okay, and similarly at the end of your program, that is after 8th semester, the CGPA, it will be weighted mean of 1 to 8 semesters. Okay, so it is there. So next is a median. And you know that median means mid value. Okay, suppose you have 3 values, then the second, and then before finding median, what we do, we arrange the numbers either in ascending or descending order. Okay, and then we choose the middle value. So that is called median. Sometimes we have only one middle value. If the number of values are odd, okay, then we get only one value. And if it is even, then we get 2 middle values. And in that case, we take the mean of the 2 middle values to be the median. Okay, so this, I think I'm not going into the details. So write the values of the variate in ascending or descending order, and then n plus 1 by 2th term will be the median if n is odd. If it is even, then there will be 2 middle values, and then you take the mean of these 2 middle values. But then median in continuous series, grouped data. Okay, so group data means, for example, you have a class intervals here, and then its frequency. So if these two things are given to us, then how to find the median? Okay, so then you can use this formula, that is L plus N by 2 minus CF, okay, upon it. The meaning of these are the L is lower limit of the median class, CF cumulative frequency before median class, F is frequency of median class, and I is width of median class, right? So the only problem is this one, median class. Okay, so how to choose the median class? Okay, once a median class is chosen, then all these things you can find from the table very easily. So median class, you take the total frequency divided by 2, because we want mid value, so divided by 2. Okay, so some problem will be there. You just, for example, this one. Okay, so these are frequencies 5, 6, 15, 10, 5, 4, 2, 2, 2. Okay, so then we cumulative frequency table. So this is CF 49. So total is 49 here. Okay, so if you want to find quartile, the quartile we will see. So if you want to find median, then what you do, you'll calculate n by 2. So n by 2, say n by 2 will be 49 by 2, and then it will be equal to 24.5. See, you just see this number, and you can see that you will not get exactly this number on the table. Cumulative frequency here in this column, you will not get this number exactly. Okay, but then what you do? You just take the number which is just greater than this number. So you can see that this number. So this is now the class corresponding to this number is 1520. Okay, so this class is the median class. And then the rest of the things are easily determined from this table. Frequency of median class 15. Cumulative frequency before median class 11. Okay. I, width of the class interval 5. All right. So in this way, so first find n by 2, and then that in the cumulative frequency column, just find the number which is greater than this number, n by 2. That will be your median class. Now quartile. So quartiles are those which divide the total frequency in 4 parts. So we have, you can see that this is mid value, this is median. Then this is quartile Q1. This is Q2. Now decile means divide the total frequency in 10 equal parts, and percentile in 100 equal parts. Okay, and then use the same formula, this n by 2. So for first quartile Q1, this will be n by 4. Okay, and for second quartile Q2, this will be 3n by 4, because this is 3 by 4th. 4 part का 3 हिस्सा तुमने लिया, 1 2 3. So 3 by 4th of total. So for Q3, it will be 3n by 4. You can see that. Decile, n by 10. Now if you want to find first decile, so 1 at n by 10, then second decile 2 n by 10, third decile 3 n by 10, like that. And percentile case, it will be n multiple of n by 100. So this here quartile, you can see that Q1 here n by 4 is there, and here 3n by 4 is there. Others are same thing. L, CF, F, I. L is lower limit of median class. CF is cumulative frequency before quartile class. F is the frequency of the quartile class, and I is the width of the quartile class. Okay. In case of decile, first decile is n by 10, second decile will be 2n by 10, like that. And in case of percentile, as I said earlier, it is n by 100. And if you want to calculate 70th percentile, then it will be 70 n by 100. So quartile, you can see that each section has 25 1/4 of the frequency. This second quartile, okay, is actually median. So it is called first quartile, this is called third quartile, and this second quartile is actually median. Percentile, every region has 1% of the frequency. Okay, in case of decile, you'll get 1/10. So with the help of these formulas, you can calculate this. These are not difficult. Okay, I think you can do it. Then mode. So mode, you know that this is value of the variable which occurs most frequently in a distribution. Okay, so which occurs most frequently, जो सबसे ज़्यादा बार आता है value. For example, if it is we have some frequency or we have value, say 2 4 1 9 8 2, 6, 2, 9, 10, 11, 2, 13, 2, 5, 6, like this. Okay, so in this values, you can just count which number has occurs how many times. For example, 2, you can see that 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 times. I think no number has occurred 5 times, and therefore 2 will be the mode. So this is the usually mostly acceptable definition of mode, that the value of the variable which occurs most frequently in the distribution is called mode. So mode is that value variate for which the frequency is maximum or the point of maximum frequency. So discrete data, so you just count the values or frequency of each numbers, जो भी. Now, for example, if this is the frequency distribution, then you can see that from this that 6 occurs most of the times, and therefore 6 is the mode. And for continuous data, we use this formula. L, so L is same, lower limit of modal class, F1 minus F0. Okay, so these two numbers, there are 3 numbers actually, F0, F1, F2. So what we have a modal class. The frequency of this modal class is F1. And before that, you have F0, and after that, you have F2. Okay. So F0 is the frequency of the class just preceding the modal class. Okay. Just preceding. And just following. F2 जो है, that is just after F1, and F0 is just before F1. So F1 is the frequency of modal class. So this formula we can use. So these are frequencies. So this will be your modal class because the frequency is high. Okay, 72. So this is modal class is 21, 28. So F1 is 72, F0 will be 36, and F2 will be 51. I is 7. All right, and L is lower limit of modal class is 21. So you can use this, and this relation is there. Mean mode is 3 times mean minus median. Okay. So what it says, if in the asymmetrical curve, the area on the left of mode is greater than area on the left of mode is greater than area on the right. Okay, so there is mode somewhere. This is left side and this is right side. So left side area is greater than the right side area, then you will have this situation. Mean less than median less than mode. Asymmetrical curve, the area on the left of mode is greater than area on the right. Then this. Let us see this figure 3. This one. And if area is on the right, then mode will be less than median, less than mean. This is the meaning, I think. No, this is mode, mean, median. This is mean, mean, mode, median. Mean is less than median, less than mode. Okay, so this is your mean. This is median and this is mode. So this says. So from seeing the graph of the distribution, we can say that which quantity is bigger and which is smaller. This is the meaning of this actually. Okay. So if area on the left is more, then we have this situation, mean less than median, less than mode. And if area on the right is more than left, then we'll have mode less than median, less than mean. Okay. So this is the meaning of this. So then becomes measures of variation. Now variation, that is dispersion actually. So dispersion, so how disperse, how variability of the data is there from the mean. Okay, so mean से कितना क्या कहते हैं वेरिएबिलिटी है या किस प्रकार का स्कैटर्डनेस है, that we can measure with the help of these values. Okay. So this you can read, these are very easy to understand. These are important parameters of the dispersion, the range, the standard deviation, variance, okay? And most importantly, these two, standard deviation and variance. You can see that. This range is also not useful. So range, as the name suggests, it is value, maximum value minus minimum value of the values x. Okay. So the range is the difference between the largest and the smallest values of the data distribution. So whatever the data distribution we have, in that data distribution, range is value, is that value which is difference of largest and smallest. But you can see that from this example, okay, for both the suppliers, the range is same. Okay, for example, 27 minus 17, 27 minus 17. But then the distribution is not the same. You can see that. So in between, the numbers may be different. For example, here 19, 20, 27, 22, 22, 22 only. So range is same, but the distribution is not same. So therefore, it does not tell how much other values vary from one another from the mean. Okay, so the other values of the distribution, what are their values or how much they differ from the mean? It doesn't say anything about that. It only says about the difference between largest and smallest. So for this reason, it is not much useful. or in fact are not useful. Okay. Then you can we can find quartile deviation. Quartile deviation, this is Q3 minus Q1. So it is somewhat better than a range, okay? Because range use values only the smallest and the largest. But here we use the values Q3 and Q1, you can see that. In Q3 use 3/4 of the data or distribution. In Q1 use 1/4. So in fact, we are using more values to determine this value. More values of the distribution to determine this value, and therefore it is better than range. But also it doesn't use completely all the values. You can say more or less we use only 3/4 of the data. Okay. Then comes a mean deviation. Now, mean deviation, the name suggests you just calculate the deviation from mean. Okay. And take their modulus. So these are all positive quantity. So it is the mean of deviation from mean. What is this? Mean deviation is actually mean of deviation from mean. So these two mean have different meaning. Okay, this is mean of deviations from mean. But then you can see that you are taking deviations positive. All right. And therefore, what it may give, it may not give the real interpretation of the data, because we are ignoring the sign. Some of the values of these are negative, some are positive. Okay. So this also doesn't give the real variability of the values because the signs are ignored. But how much it will so mean deviation is based on all observation, better measure, no problem, then range or quartile deviation. But the step of ignoring the sign of the deviation creates artificiality and render it useless for further mathematical treatment. Okay. So this is the only reason why we don't use this mean deviation, because we ignore the sign. So we don't give the natural or real things actually. Somewhat artificial things we get. So this is the most important things that is used: standard deviation and variance. So standard deviation measures the standard distance between a score and the mean. So formula we can see, but these are notations. Mean, sample population, that I will come later. This let me derive. Let me check. Yes. These two things. So population is standard deviation. So what we say root mean square deviation. Okay, this standard deviation is called root mean square deviation. So we take a root, a square root of which number? So deviation is square. You take the deviation from mean, square it, and take its mean, and then take its root. So this is standard deviation. Okay. So deviation of mean, square it, take mean, and then take square root. So we get standard deviation, right? And the variance is sigma square, just standard deviation is square is called variance. So come to this table then. So later we will use these notations frequently. Okay, population. So these are standard notations, mu, sigma. Mu is mean and standard deviation is sigma. And for sample, we use the notation x bar for mean and s for standard deviation. And this s and x bar are also calculated as mu and sigma. But the only difference that you'll see here is in place of n, we use n minus 1. This one, you can see that. So s square is this one, and therefore s is what actually? S is square root of summation xi minus x bar square upon n minus 1. So in case of sigma, it is actually square root summation xi minus mu upon n. So this is the only difference between sample standard deviation or sample variance and population variance. Okay, and the reason behind the taking n minus 1 is, I think this you can see that where when we study estimation. This is topic we will see later. Okay. So there you'll see the why we have taken n minus 1 instead of n. So the reason is that if you take n minus 1, then this s square gives better approximation of sigma square or better estimate of sigma square. Okay. So if you take n, and if you take n minus 1, then the value that is obtained by taking n minus 1 is better estimate of sigma square. Okay, so that is the reason we take n minus 1 for sample and n for population. However, if you have a reasonably large data set, there is very little difference between n minus 1 and n. If n is very, very large, then there is not much difference. Okay. So these are alternative computational formula. We can use both for population variance and sample variance. Okay. So this is again okay. So simply using X size. And how these are obtained, you can just square it, okay, and use expand the summation. Okay, so you square it and apply this summation. Okay, you can get in this form. Or if you use do manipulation, you will get one from the other. Okay, so there are three things. This is a square. These two are also. You get any by using any other formula. Okay. So these values you can see population parameters, population mean, population variance, population standard deviation. No problem. Calculate the standard deviation and coefficient of variation. This is another thing. Coefficient of variation is you just multiply it by 100. So 15. This is sigma. And 39.64 is arithmetic mean, and multiply it by 100, you will get coefficient of variation. So this is equal to sigma upon x bar into 100. So sigma or s square, whatever it is. Okay. So this is either s or sigma. This is mu or x bar. So we can take sigma upon mu into 100, no problem. So coefficient of variation, though it is obtained there. So as I said earlier, if you are using a sample notation, you can use s upon x bar, or we can also use sigma upon mu. Okay. So this is a positive unitless quantity because both sigma and mu have the same unit, and therefore it is unitless quantity. So that can be helpful to make comparison between different data set in terms of their variability. Now, what is the meaning of this? If suppose you have two data sets, okay, or two sample from two different population, okay, and units are different. Here, unit 1 and then unit 2. Suppose this unit is time and this is suppose distance kilometer. Okay. Now, if I find a standard deviation or variance here, and if I find variance here, then the variance will be in terms of time, and the variance of this sample will be kilometer. Then how can I compare this time and kilometer? Okay, that is the problem, and therefore, in that situation, when the two data set or two samples have different unit, then we use this coefficient of variation to compare them. Okay, because this coefficient of variation is unitless quantity, Okay, so there is no unit here. In this case also, so it is just percentage value. So 40% or 60% like that. Okay, and therefore we can compare them easily. But by going by variance or standard deviation, it is not appropriate to compare them. So population coefficient of variation, CV, sigma upon mu 100. Okay. So this is about a mean, median, mode. These are measures of central tendency, and then dispersion, measures of dispersion. Then next is moments. Okay. So here we'll find moments. Sorry. So moments about mean, okay, and moments about any other point other than mean, of course, or any other value. Okay. So any other value is also include 0. Okay. So moment about origin, moment about 0 we can find. So these two are actually same part. Moment about other point, moment about mean. So there are two part actually. Mean in any value. And then any value, special case is 0, and here is some non-zero value. Now with the help of these moments, we can find or we can determine the skewness and kurtosis or the behavior of the data value. Okay, so this skewness and kurtosis actually gives skewness means I think it is variability, and this kurtosis means peakedness, means height. Okay, so the height of data and the width of data. Okay, so these are two measures. Okay, and these measures we can decide with the help of moments. So with the help of moments, we calculate some values, and that values actually gives the nature of the data, whether it is skewness, it is means how skewed it is and how kurtosis it is. Okay. So this you can see. First moment will give you mean, central value. Second moment, variance. Third moment, skewness. And fourth moment, kurtosis. Describes peakedness. Peakedness means height. Asymmetry means variability of the data or width of the data. All right. So first moment mean, second moment variance, third moment skewness, and fourth moment kurtosis. And this I was talking about three types of moments. So moments about arbitrary point. Okay, so this include actually the origin. Arbitrary point include origin. So origin is also there. And the another is moment about mean. So moments about mean and moments about arbitrary point. If you take arbitrary point 0, you will get moments about origin. So for ungrouped data, this is moment about arbitrary point. So what we do, we take arbitrary point A, okay, and then this mu r days. So this is called moment about arbitrary point. R is equal to 1, 2, 3. So mu r, if you take r is equal to 1, then it will be first moment about arbitrary point, like that. R is equal to 2, second moment about arbitrary point. All right. So you can see that mu1 days, this is equal to 1 upon n summation xi minus a. All right. Likewise, you can. So r is 0 also. Actually, it is not written here, but r is 0 here. So if you take r is equal to 0, then this become 1, and 1 added n times will give you n, and n by n will give you 1. So this is mu1, mu2, mu3, mu4, no problem. Now for grouped data, okay, so you just multiply this by its frequency fi, and this small n will become capital N. That's all. Okay, so this fi is the frequency of xi. So here again r is equal to 0. That I'm. So same thing. Okay, you'll get the same. So just remember, what is mu r days? Mu r days is equal to 1 upon n summation fi xi minus a to the power r. R is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. This is moment about arbitrary point. So these are moments about arbitrary points. So moments about origin, you just take a is equal to 0. This a is equal to 0, you will get moments about origin. So nothing new, same thing. Moments about mean, you just take this mean. In place of a, you take mean x bar. So 0 other mode, first order. Can you tell me why this mu1 is equal to 0? Why mu1 is equal to 0?
Data is constant, that's why. Is data constant? Is it because of that?
No. What is mu1? Mu1 is equal to, this is 1 upon n. Let me take a small n. 1 upon n, and then this is xi minus x bar. That's all. So mu1 is equal to 1 upon n summation xi minus x bar. The value is 0. Okay. So just after defining the definition of mean, we have seen this property, okay? That is algebraic sum of deviation from mean is 0. Or even if you want to calculate or prove it, it is a simple one. So this is 1 upon n, apply summation. So summation xi, and then this is summation x bar. Okay. And then this is equal to summation xi upon n. So this is actually x bar minus this x bar is constant. So x bar is added n times. So this is x bar into n, and this 1 upon n will come here. That's why it is 0. X bar minus x bar is equal to 0. So this property we have seen there after defining mean. Algebraic sum of deviation from the mean is 0. Second order mean, second order moment, you can see that this is, it comes out to be sigma square, that is variance. Then this is third order, fourth order. Okay, that you will see later how they determine. And in case of group data, you can simply multiply them by their frequencies. And in place of a small n, you can take capital N. And then we can find the relation between these two. So one is what? One is mu r days, and the other one is mu r. So this mu r is actually moment about mean, and this mu r days is moment about arbitrary point. So we can find relation between these two. Okay, that is, and we can also determine if you know that these moments, we can find these moments, or if we have moments about mean, we can find moments about arbitrary points. So because they are all related, we can find, if one is known, we can find the other. So the proof is given here. I'm not going into the details of this, but simply I can give idea that suppose a mu r is there. Okay, if you want to find mu r days, then what you have to do, you have to introduce a here somewhere. So this a can be brought here just by adding and subtracting, plus a minus a, and then use binomials theorem. Okay, so in this way we can find it that's all. And minus a plus a, and then this xi minus xi bar. So here then you can use binomials theorem, and then we can find relation. So that you can use this relations if required. You should know at least that they are related. If I know moments about arbitrary point, I can find moments about mean. Or if I know moments about mean, I can find moments about any arbitrary point. That's all. Then this is one of the property, effect of change of origin and scale on moments. Okay, so what we have actually x and xn. So here if I change scale and origin, okay, then what happens? So that we have to see. So this you can see that So this is the mu r days. Mu r days means moments about arbitrary point. So if I introduce a ui here, then I get a fi ui to the power r and h to the power r upon n, right? So what we can say then? So finally we get this. This is mu r days in terms of a ui, and this is mu r in terms of a ui. So this mu r days, it doesn't give a relation like this here. Ui minus u bar to the power r. So actually, what I am looking for is this one. This you can see that is an expression of the form summation fi xi minus x bar to the power r upon n. Okay. So this is actually moment about mean of the variable xi. Okay. What we have done, we have changed this xi into ui. By applying some formula like this, ui is equal to xi minus, say, some number here, okay, and some number here. So from this we have reached here. So this denominator is actually h, I think. You can see that. Yes, x minus a upon h. So this denominator value is h. So this is h here. And then you can see that. So what we can say that moment about mean of x variable is h to the power r times moment about mean of u variable. But here we don't get, I can say this is moment about, yes, we can say this also, this is summation fi ui minus upon r. Okay. So what we can say that moment about arbitrary point of x variable is h to the power r times moment about origin of u variable, because this is 0. Okay. So like this, some relations are there. So this is change of scale and origin. Okay. So if you want to reduce these numbers, you can use u variable. Okay. Find the moments and then multiply them by h to the power r. That will give you the moment about moment of x variable about mean. Okay. So this then you have a Shepard correction for moments. So I have given here, but I have not studied these things in details. Okay. So if someone is interested, they can study in details what these corrections are. Okay. So mu3 corrected is mu3, mu4 corrected is mu4. Okay, so this Shepherd has proposed some correction, I think. So these are the corrections. So in mu2, they subtract it by h square by 12. Mu3 is mu3, no problem.
Sir, we can skip it safely, no issues.
Right?
We can skip it, yeah, not
Ah.
required.
Not required.
And
then this beta give gamma coefficients. They may be useful somewhere, I don't know. Okay, so these values are given here, beta 1, gamma 1, beta 2, gamma 2. With the help of this beta 1, gamma 1 and beta 2, gamma 2, we can decide this skewness and kurtosis. Okay. So these you can see. Mean, median, mode. Various measures of skewness. So these are proposed by various scientists. I think someone has proposed mean minus median, some mean minus mode, some quartile, Q3 minus Q2, and then minus Q2 minus Q1. So all these things are there, but mostly use this beta and gamma to find. So coefficient of skewness different scientists have given here. Percentile based coefficient of skewness, decile based coefficient of skewness. And then kurtosis. So these are three types of lepto, meso, platic, cortic. Okay, so this you can see this figure right. So leptocortic means high peaked. This is the middle one, and then a smaller one. So these are different names of the Karl Pearson measures of kurtosis. So these I was talking about this value of beta and gamma decide which type of curve it is. Okay, so beta 2 is equal to 3 and gamma 2 is equal to 0. It is mesocortic. Meso means a middle, like, okay, meso means middle. So M means middle. Beta 2 less than 3 and gamma 2 less than 0. It is plating, last one. And beta 2 greater than 3 and gamma 2 greater than 0, the first one, left two, high peaked. So these values, from these values, we can decide the nature of the curve. Okay, and these values we can obtain from with the help of moments. So this is mostly the summary of this lecture, you can say. Okay, the other values are given here that you can calculate. So I think I should stop now.